Are we good to go? We rolling?
I think so. Does it sound good?
I mean, I think it sounds good.
There's only one way to figure that. Find out.
Oh no, bro! Last week we had no effects.
So you think you haven't seen the
Why
end
are
of
we
the episode
back?
yet? You know the power of editing. I can put in whatever I want.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
You should have already found out because I already did it. How you doing, man? How was your week?
Week was good. I had 2 weddings last week. I had an engagement session. I had that audit report that I've been trying to get done.
Oh yeah, how'd that go?
Yeah, it was good.
How long does it take you after the fact?
A solid week, because it's
not too
usually
bad.
somewhere between like 18 to 25 pages.
I would ask you exactly what you have to do for that, but I feel like
I feel like I've told you at least 16
probably,
times.
but I feel like we would lose viewership if we started getting into that. I didn't do a whole lot this week, actually. Well, I mean, let me rephrase that. I did a ton for the podcast, but as far as like photo goes, not a whole lot. But
yeah, that last episode we did was pretty cool.
I hope people have gone there and ordered our drink. Because,
bro, yeah, I posted on our Instagram the drink.
A couple people have hit me up and been like, "Why didn't I know about this last time?" I'm like, "Because it's new."
And someone even DM'd me and was like, "Yo, the next time I'm there, I'm ordering this."
Yeah,
I'm like, it may not be on the menu, but if Jesse's there, ask him for it.
It looks like a not strong drink. It is a very strong drink.
Very strong.
I feel like the whipped cream it makes you like put you at ease a little bit, and then you get a little bit of the actual drink, and it's
especially if you don't like gin like me, it'll talk to your soul.
I feel like you get more of the tea from that though.
The tea, yeah, you're right. But that shot you made me take was
I made you do nothing.
I grew some hair on my heart.
Well, I am super excited because we have an awesome guest today.
Yeah, we do.
And this guest may or may not have shot my wedding.
You did recently tell me that.
Way back when.
When did you get married again?
1975.
Oh, okay. This guy.
2014, actually.
Be careful. Okay. You know what? Let me not say anything. I was like, your wife might not like that, but
watch it. No, she knows. You know.
Wait, where'd you get married?
Lake House Inn in Percy.
Ooh, I have a wedding there actually this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We had our wedding there, and I feel like the next year or a little bit after that is when Carson Wentz got married there.
Oh, he got married there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He like came in a helicopter or some crazy shit like that.
Wait, who shot his wedding?
I don't remember actually.
Oh, okay. In a helicopter? Of course he did.
Or someone came in a helicopter, and I don't remember who it was.
Yeah.
It might have been like his fiance.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I actually have a Indian wedding in 2 months, and it's at the Logan Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And the bride was like, she was telling me for months, she was like, I'm truly gonna go to like city council. I'm gonna try to talk to whoever I can because I want to get an elephant for the barat. And I'm like, what?
I feel like
she said it was $10,000 a minute. I said, there's no way.
That's not a thing.
There's no way. And she says, yeah, I'm going to try, but I just talked to her and she's
Ringling
like, nah,
Brothers can't even have elephants anymore.
I'm like, that's insane.
I honestly don't think you can do like animal stuff like that, especially with elephants.
I mean, I think you can get a horse in the city.
A horse, yeah. I mean, the cops have horses. But
well, yeah. But an elephant was insane.
Because what happens if that thing gets out of control? Like, what?
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
New York Times, elephant tramples 100 people at Indian wedding.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
So I'm super excited for our next guest.
Yes.
Selfishly. Because, you know, I actually discovered her. I don't think people know this or not.
Oh, yeah? Where'd you discover her at?
Oh,
you can't tell?
I can't tell you. It's a secret.
Okay.
So she's been named one of the 100 most influential people in the wedding industry and one of the 50 top photographers in the world by brides, with work seen in Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, People Magazine, Over the Moon, Elle, and more. But she believes the best accolades come from happy clients, which I agree with. And her career skyrocketed after she shot a wedding on April 14th, 2014.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lauren Fair. Hey, I got to find a better way to do the transition from no guest to guest. Maybe
I like the applause.
Maybe we'll give you more applause.
I feel very welcomed.
Yes. How are you?
Great.
It is
How
so
are you
good
guys?
to see you.
Good.
So good to
Thanks
see
for
you.
coming.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun. This is very official. I have never been on a podcast in person before. So this is very cool.
And you didn't know you were going to be on this one in person either.
Nope.
Till about an hour ago.
Didn't. So I'm glad I have makeup on and put some clothes on
I was
today.
like, oh, Lauren agreed to this really, really quickly. And then it's because she didn't think she had to come here. No.
Yeah, no. But I'm happy to be here, and this is so legit and very cool.
Awesome. Yeah. So, selfishly, I kind of wanted you on here because you shot my wedding 1 million years ago. It's not that long ago.
But 11 years, that's kind of 1 million years when you're only 21 like I am.
Well, obviously.
Ask Gen Z. He doesn't even know what's going on here. Yeah. But yeah, so I think I guess where I kind of wanted to start is to sort of hear a little bit about your story, how you got into photography. Because Aunt asked me before we were getting ready for this, she's like, she shot your wedding in 2014. Like, how long had she been shooting before that? I'm like, I don't even know really. So
not that long. I mean, 3 years, 4 years. I started my business in college.
Nice.
I was an 18-year-old kid when I started my business. I started a WordPress free blog in my college house, which was a red brick crumbling house in Ohio down the street from the college. And I started my business in that little bedroom in college.
That's awesome.
Yeah, kind of crazy. I went to Cedarville University. It's like a small liberal arts school, Christian school, not allowed to drink, all the fun things.
Right.
I definitely adhered to that. Also.
Of course.
Of course.
My
would never.
My school was small and didn't party at all. It's a little school called Penn State. It's like in the middle of
Oh,
nowhere.
yeah,
No one's really heard.
yeah. So you didn't drink until you were 22,
No, of course not.
probably.
But so I guess, what was it about? Was it photography in general, or was it wedding specifically that got you into I want to do this?
Yeah. So I had always loved taking photos. I always had my little hot pink power shot. Do you guys remember those?
Yeah, because they're
We're
back.
the same age.
They're
back. The TikTok girls have them
Yeah.
now.
TikTok girls.
Yeah, I always loved taking photos. And my sister was studying abroad in Italy. And I bought my first camera when I was 18 to go visit her. She's 3 years older than me. So she was studying abroad in Italy. Her last year of
30
school.
years older than you?
3.
I thought you said 30. I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
She's
okay.
actually my mother.
She's actually my mother.
I'm trying to think of mathematically how that would be
How is it
possible.
possible?
No, I'm only 21. Remember? Okay. So I bought my first Canon Rebel for that trip, and I took it with me. I actually had a very special moment because when I was 18, I went over. It was my first big trip to Italy, actually by myself, and I was just walking around the streets in Florence, and everybody's very romantic there. All the Italians are good looking. They're all making out on street corners. It's the light is beautiful. If you've been to Florence, it's very just dusky tones, a lot of things that really would become evident in my work over the years. But so much about it was so inspiring. And I remember it was sunset, and I turned the corner right off of the Duomo, the big cathedral in the middle of Florence there. And I turned a corner, and the sun was setting kind of just right down this very narrow street. And I raised my camera and I clicked the shutter. For the first time in my life, I saw light. And it literally, that one moment set the course of my entire life. I've been chasing that feeling ever since. And last week, I was actually in Florence with a bunch of friends for one night before we went to Engage Summits in Tuscany. And I was with my girlfriend, and she was like, we're going to find this street.
Nice.
And we found the street last week.
That's
she
so
took
cool.
a picture of me, and I haven't seen that street in, a certain number of years.
4, right?
4. Yeah, about 4 years. And it was this really cool moment where, very, very full circle to be there, however many years later it is, since that one moment that I really fell in love with photography. But that trip changed my life, just seeing light for the first time and realizing that I could capture it in a certain way. I saw backlighting, I saw the glow, I saw everything for the first time. And I was just this 18-year-old kid. And I came back to college and I said, I'm going to be a photographer. And I didn't really know exactly what, but I was interested in weddings. I thought maybe I wanted to go into hospitality, or I didn't really know what I wanted to do, honestly. But I got my degree in business. I double majored in organizational communications and international business. So I finished my degrees and started my business kind of at the same time. And so this is the only thing I've ever done. No formal training.
What's interesting is that every guest we've had on here who's a photographer has that moment.
I was just going to say that.
So funny.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what the hell? Why does everyone have this special moments?
So we had our friend Nick on,
I don't
who
remember my
literally
first moment.
explained the same thing. It was the sun was setting. The first thing is like that. I had a different one, really. I was way young, and it wasn't necessarily taking the photo; it was developing the picture. Because because I am very old.
Yeah.
But it was like at camp, and we were shooting. It was like a black and white film course.
Yeah.
And I remember getting that contact sheet back and looking. I'm going, oh, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And like that was like that moment for me, and
Yes.
that was, and everyone except Ant. Ant's like, I don't know, I just like it.
I think it was a Tuesday afternoon. The sun was approximately 65 degrees.
I
was
remember
crazy.
all of that vividly, though,
I know.
which is
It's
crazy.
Yeah, I actually found that contact sheet when we were moving to this house.
See,
and I still
you
have
found-
it. It's
that's
really cool.
so cool. You should frame it and put
And
it in the
it's funny
studio.
too, because I'm looking at the photos. I was 11 years old, and like they remind me of stuff I take now too, which
That's
is like
amazing.
just really bizarre. But I thought you brought up another good point, because you were talking about the colors that you saw in Italy.
Yes.
And, obviously that, for people who don't know your work, that's a big part of your work, sort of that pastel tone. When everyone and their mother were shooting 400H, that was your baby, I feel like, at the time. Because I remember when we were looking for wedding photographers, I was not in the industry.
Right.
I remember the only thing I was looking for, I'm like, I want someone who shoots film.
Yeah.
Like that was my whole thing. I was like, I don't know why. I just want someone who shoots film, which is where I found your work. And, obviously everyone's style, evolves as they work, editing, that kind of stuff.
Totally.
What do you think has changed and has not changed about the way you shoot now versus when you started?
Yeah, totally. That's so funny. I was thinking about your wedding too before I came here. And I think, so I started my business in 2010. So I was only 3-4 years into my business when I shot your wedding.
Oh,
and
wow.
those were the years where I was shooting like 80 to 90 rolls of film.
What?
I was shooting almost the whole wedding.
But I mean, the
on
cost for
film.
development
Was not as bad.
No,
it was
it can't
not
be
quite
as
as
bad,
bad.
right?
And
Well, the cost of film wasn't as
Yeah.
bad, and neither
Oh,
was the
true.
cost of
Development,
development,
so-
but I was still spending dozens of thousands of dollars
Sure.
every year on development. Photovision loved me. Still love them. Still my film lab. And I do still shoot film.
Yeah.
There's actually not that many of us who kind of started around that same time, who kind of became known for film. There's not that many of us actually still really shooting film. I do still shoot film, not nearly as much as I used to. And I shoot it in a very different way. So it used to be everything was very honestly, it was perfect. It was like perfect, if that's the word I can use. Everything was framed perfectly. It was pretty, like just very pretty, very precise. It was the Style Me Pretty years where everything was just lovely. Everything was lovely. Everything was beautiful. Everything was pretty. I shot that way for a long time. I became very good at it. I built my business on that style. And then I became so bored with my own work that I was like, I'm either going to quit or do something totally different, because I just felt like my art was just stagnant. I was very, very good at one thing, and that's what people came to me for. And I was making lots of money doing that. But the art itself, I needed to change and evolve. And so, maybe like, I don't know if COVID was kind of the changing point for a lot of things for me, but I just started to want to get looser and a little bit more gritty with the pretty. And I think I've done a good job of evolving that while still keeping my signature look and style.
it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. And the way I did it was really just kind of these like little tiny shifts instead of drastically changing. I mean, you can look at the trends happening in the industry, right? And we all see how things have moved way away from that perfect look and things. I mean, whatever, we can say it, but like it's gone way the other way, right?
Pendulum goes
Pendulum
hard the other way. Yeah.
Has swung. And so for me, I had the signature look for many, many years. And for me, I wanted to just incorporate things that felt more raw, but not anything that felt like I wouldn't do it myself, like as true to my own style and my own self. So for me, I've been shooting with motion and movement my entire career because I'm a film photographer. So I've been shooting on a 30th of a second, my entire career on a
Which is
contact.
funny because I've tried to explain this to people because of the whole, movement blurry,
yes,
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it like we shot that way because of film, because you have to shoot at a 30th of a second.
Totally.
And if it's a little blurry, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then you see the stagnant shots of the couple standing there and it's blurry. It's like, why is I don't understand what the intentionality behind this is.
No, for sure. And I mean, there's so many people doing it. There's room for every single style in the world. And there's people like John Dolan who are just like the pioneers of everything in our industry, literally. And he can do no wrong. And that's like what he does. And it's so cool. And for me, though, it felt more intentional that I'm not just going to shake my camera. I'm going to, like, something has to be moving in my frame in order for it to make sense. And so, you know, these kind of shifts I started making in my business to make myself like my own work more, it was very intentional as far as, okay, what do I want to feel? What do I want to shoot? Because for me, it's all about just the feeling of that and keeping the colors pretty consistent with what kind of I've been known for, but also just, you know, adding in direct flash stuff. And I shoot a ton of direct flash stuff now. Lots of film with flash, which I didn't really do a lot of before. It was more perfectly lit off camera flash to like light something perfectly with the contacts. Now it's like a little bit more raw. Party images have become more fun to me.
Okay, so I feel as if, you know, because I was asking Simon before you came on the episode, you know, what is Lauren's thing? Like, why do so many people in our industry kind of look up to you, is what I would like to say. So I feel like when I was coming into the industry, I was working for multiple like light and airy photographers. Yeah. And, you know, I would always hear your name pop up in these conversations. So in the most humblest way, I guess, or whatever the case is, you know, what do you think is your thing? Because I know like a lot of photographers, you know, they admire Jose Villa, right? Because he is known for film and how he edits and things like that. So why do you think, or what is like your thing? You know what I mean? Like what is it that people have come to you to be like, ooh, this is why I want to shoot like Lauren Fair? Because I think it might be the light and airy thing, but I don't think Simon agrees with that.
No, but I'm gonna withhold what I think it is.
Okay.
Because I have a unique perspective since, you know, I was a client of hers, so I saw that side of things too.
Sure.
Oh, I don't know. That's a hard question to answer. I feel like without.
He asked me. He's like, "What's Lauren Fair's thing?" And I'm like, I can tell you what I thought it was, but let me start there, and you can see if you agree with me or not.
Actually, that'd be great. I need a jumping off point. I can't just be like, I'm amazing because of this.
No.
Right.
Here's what I meant to say. It's more
I know
like
exactly what you're asking.
You know what I'm saying? Okay.
It's like that would be easy for me to answer if you were a client, because I have an elevator pitch that I do, and I don't spend hardly any time on a client call asking about the client. I talk about myself and what I'm good at and what I can do for them, because my clients in the luxury space are very busy. If I get them on a Zoom call with the planner, it is a 15, 20-minute deal. They're so busy. They don't have a lot of time. They're interviewing multiple people, all in a similar price bracket, who are all phenomenally talented. So I actually don't waste any time really on the call other than a couple initial questions, but I don't really talk very much about the client.
But it's more so like...
And so I kind of have this elevator pitch about myself.
but I'm thinking more of like within the last 15 years, right? Since you've been a photographer.
Yes.
Because like I said, coming into this industry, I've seen a lot of like photographers be like, hey, I love Lauren Fair. I love her work. But I'm just like, what is the thing? Like, what is it that makes Lauren Fair Lauren Fair?
Okay, I love that. I can probably answer that, but I kind of want to hear what Simon says first.
Okay. Well, so for me, it was different, I think, also because this was early on in your career.
Yeah, so early.
Right. And also,
Let's actually not go based on that.
Well, no, I thought it was interesting because, and seeing it from my perspective now, being in our 10th season of doing this, like I see it from the other side of things too, where it's, like, I can say comfortably that there are a ton of photographers in our price bracket that can do exactly what we would do for you. And I think the question is, what is it that you do differently? Whether that be something, how you shoot, or who you are as a person. And our brand, and this is coming back to you, don't worry, I'm just not talking about myself.
You see what Simon's doing?
No, I want to hear about this.
You see what he's doing though,
I
right?
do.
He's taking a page out of your book.
I know he is.
He's talking about himself.
See?
I'm wasting no time here, guys.
Listen,
but our brand
Simon.
Our brand is really, really based on our personalities. Because
and mine is really not at all.
I might disagree with you on that when I tell you what.
I'm very, very curious to hear this.
So it's, there are so many photographers who can do what we do. And I think when you book Magda and Simon, you are booking us to be at your wedding to make your experience more enjoyable. Whether that be hopefully it's because of the photos you get at the end, but also that's, we are so no stress on wedding days. Even the much higher end weddings we've done, it's very level headed. We show up as your friend, not as your employee or anything like that. And I remember when we met you, I didn't really know what to expect because honestly, I think you were the only photographer we talked to because I was like, I love this, I will do this. But I remember you were like, okay, come to our house, come to our studio. And we did this too for a while. And then after COVID, obviously, and now so many of our couples are not in the area, but we came over, we hung out, and it was like sort of getting to know each other. And it felt more comfortable. And I was, as much as I loved your work, that was like oh, of course we're going to go with you. Like, this is awesome. Because you're going to come to our wedding and it's like, oh, cool, Lauren's here. Okay. I'm not like concerned or anything.
All your clients are going to want to come to your house.
Yeah.
It might be difficult these days.
I'm going to fly them in. But for me, it's funny to hear you say your brand is not based on your personality. Because for us, or for me at least, like that was a big factor to it.
But it's so interesting. 12 years ago when you were hiring me, like that is a lifetime in the wedding industry. The first 5 years of my business, I would agree with you. It was all about how I could market myself, how I could, not that it's not about how to market yourself now, it is, but it was about me. It was, figuring out who you could be friends with almost. Like what type of clients do you want to hang out with? Who's going to resonate with your personality? Do you like kind of the same things? Like, is there kind of that connection, that personal connection with clients was such a huge focus. That like first 5 years of business, I would say it was everything.
Right.
As far as connecting with people, because like you said, there are a million people who do what we do and do it well and probably better, like just on the art side of things, like there are there's so much talent even just in our local area in Philly here. It's unreal. And then add in the fact that everybody's destination now, clients are spoiled for choice, right? They can go anywhere. But it's so interesting because I barely speak to my clients now at all. Sometimes I don't talk to them, actually often. I'm not even getting their names until it's to contract. It is wildly different. The luxury market compared to like that more personal, the lovely market or whatever you want to call it. There's all these different terms for things. I barely speak to my clients at all now. And so my entire strategy for why someone would pick me is dramatically different.
Was that a difficult transition for you to make? Because I'm thinking about how our business is now. Because you know me. Yeah, I do.
And I love people.
Right.
I love people. I am social. I am a true extrovert. I could hang out at conferences for days, hours, just talking to people. It actually gives me energy, like a true extrovert. And I love it. And so that felt almost like a loss when I realized that the luxury industry does not really work that way.
That's a great point that you just mentioned.
Because do you want me to answer your question before we talk about this? Okay. I feel like I keep dodging it.
No. I mean, I was like, all right, I'm gonna leave it alone now.
No, I think the thing that sets my work apart. Okay, I'll just like take myself out of. I'm not trying, whatever.
No judgment.
I am great. No, but I think the thing that sets me apart is, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I can elevate an event. I know that when I come into any type of a day, any type of weather, any type of like tension between people, I have an ability to completely compartmentalize that out. And I'm able to go into any scenario and create the type of art that I want to create without really letting the day shape my work, if that makes sense.
Totally.
I love that.
And it's a lot easier when the weddings are super beautiful, but there's also a misconception that luxury weddings are easier to shoot just because these people have $3 million budgets. That is not true at all. You have no time. The expectations are sky high. Everything has to be perfect. And you have absolutely no time to do any of it. And you don't even know the client at all. And it could be a planner you're working with for the first time. There could be, like Vera Wang's on the phone requesting something, literally. And you have 10 seconds to shoot it in between the next thing. The pressure level is wildly different. And I think all of those years of hustle, I mean, if you don't know anything about my background, I used to have 1 billion weddings a year. I used to run a big associate photography team. I don't do that anymore. There was a couple of years where we had like 70 to 90 weddings. There was one year that I shot 65 weddings myself. And I mean, I was crazy. I was a workaholic, for sure. I never said no to anything.
I didn't realize how many weddings you had until there was one year where I shot 3 weddings with 3 different photographers as a second shooter. They were all for you.
Oh, love that. Okay, amazing.
And it was great because it would be like, someone would call me, be like, hey, I need a last minute second. Because generally I didn't second shoot till like after, like right around COVID when it was like,
just slow and like you need, yes,
right.
yeah.
And it was, I forget who it was with. It might have been two of the same, but I remember being like, wait, is this another Lauren wedding? And I'm thinking like, how many is she doing? Jesus.
Yes, yes. COVID was the end of me.
So it's interesting. It's interesting because Simon and I have had sort of like a heated debate on the word luxury.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
And we've had, Megan from House of Catherine, we've had Haley Richter, we've had some other guests on this show, and everyone's perspective on luxury is sort of different, but also the same.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just so curious as to why is it such a thing where, and I know you mentioned like Vera Wang and like you're talking to celebrities, and I understand they want things fast, but like at the end of the day, why can't the client still get a personal experience out of this? Because this still is. So like, why can't you still give that approach you gave 5 years or 10 years ago?
Yeah.
To like a celebrity client that has $10 million to spend on their wedding.
So I think it's different. So I think it's just a different approach. So like Simon was saying, I mean, they were local. They came over to my studio. 0 of my clients are local now. So just feasibly, no one's local. So like, I cannot do that. Secondly, they don't want to. They're busy. They're not looking for a friend.
That's interesting.
At all.
Right.
They want a trusted, amazing person at what they do. They're taking their wedding planner's recommendation. I do still do like a Zoom call or something if they want to when we're in the interview process, if that's important to them, but it's not often important to them. I think the expectation level is sky high, but the trust level is so sky high of the reputation that you're bringing to the table, the recommendation from the wedding planner. And so they are so busy. We're talking about people who, they're surgeons, they're lawyers, they are so busy. They don't need a friend. They want someone to come in and excel and give them
such a bubbly personality.
Yes,
and I just want to be your friend. Like I just want to talk to you.
But how I do that though is on the wedding weekend, I come in with the calmest energy ever. And I'm very personal with how I pose, how I direct. I make a huge effort with the parents throughout the weekend. I just really blend in and like spend time on the wedding weekend because 99.9% of my weddings are destination and about 3 to 4 days of coverage. So you're really getting to know people and you're bonding through these experiences. Like I have a wedding in Hawaii next week, and I think I'm shooting 5 different events. So there's golf, pickleball, welcome party, pool party, rehearsal dinner, wedding day. I mean, that group and I will be so tight by the end of it. I shot a wedding in France a couple months ago. It was the same thing, 4 or 5 events, pool party, welcome, rehearsal, wedding day. And by the end of that, the father of the bride was crying, hugging us. The bride and groom were both crying, hugging us. And I didn't even really know their names until a couple weeks before. I mean, you can still give them that incredible experience
in a short term.
And the part of it that actually matters is the wedding weekend. The lead up to it, they're so busy and they're hiring a full service wedding planner to handle all of that. Actually, a lot of times I'm not even getting their money. The planners pay me. Like all the contracts are even through the planners.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying sometimes I don't even know their names until it gets to contract, and I have to ask the planner, fill in the names.
And I would also imagine that, a lot of these people, because I think one of the big reasons that we are so personable with our clients is because none of them are used to having their photos taken. None of them are used to doing anything like this. I feel like once you get to a level, if we're talking either celebrities or just people in general that are doing that, it's not like a crazy experience for them. You don't need to make them feel comfortable for 8 months leading up to the wedding. Like, you're going to be fine. Like, you're going to do a good job. Like,
Yeah.
So I feel like in that sense, like, that portion is not necessarily necessary almost.
It's not. No, they truly trust that you are just the best at what you do. They're paying a lot of money to hire the best, and they trust that it's the best. And so I feel like that they don't have a lot of questions for you.
And I learned that this year actually, because I had my first, last year, I had my first like celebrity wedding.
Yeah.
And
can you say who it was?
Yeah, it was John Runyon Jr.
Oh, wait, who is that?
He is,
why is that so
John Runyon's the Eagle
legend.
Oh, amazing.
His son,
okay. Yes.
Plays for the Giants now.
Sorry, not a big sports girl.
No.
No.
But it was a little challenging for me because everything was being communicated between the bride and the planner and myself, right? So I wouldn't really talk to the bride much.
Exactly.
I would talk more to the planner.
Yes.
And I'm the type of like photographer where I like, for example, I went to a Phillies game with one of my couples, or we go bowling, or we go to Top Golf, or we just do fun activities because I like to
amazing.
truly, I like that stuff. But it's funny because I'm really starting to understand that fine line between, I guess I'm not going to use the word luxury, Simon.
I wouldn't even call it luxury. I would just call it,
higher budgeted weddings.
Well, sort of what you were talking about is, we have our first 2 this year where we have no contact with the couple at all. It's all through the planner. And it's definitely like, it's sucking my energy a little bit. I'm sort of like, oh, but I want to know what they're like.
Exactly.
And blah, blah, blah. But
exactly.
It's like, yeah, I guess, and tell me if this is sort of what you had to do in this transition too, but it's sort of like, they've seen your work. This planner knows your work. They like your work. Just do that. And sort of,
literally, you just summed it up. Yeah.
just do the thing you know how to do.
Just do that.
Right.
Yeah. And they trust that your personality is not going to be terrible because the planner is recommending you. That's the thing.
Right.
I mean, 90% of my weddings, if not more, are being booked through a planner. So they already have that, huge level of trust, I would say. And it's not like I always have no contact, with the couple entirely.
I never talk to my clients.
I would never speak to them.
Lauren, they could do a video chat. I'm sorry, I'm not available.
I'm sorry. No, whatever they want. And it's kind of like, there is always one or two every year that I end up having a lot more communication with, or they'll follow me on Instagram, which is like pretty rare. Like it's just like,
that's interesting.
Yes.
Actually.
So like, guys, I'm telling you, it is a wild change for someone like me who's so social, so relationship based. Like I want all the friends. Like I love people. Like I want to be personal, but there did reach this point where I was like, wait, this is great because my energy is not being focused on that. It's being focused on how can I be a better artist? How can I show up and still make them fall in love with me and this experience and set them at ease and still do all of the things relational.
Which is so interesting too when you're talking about following you on Instagram, because like in our positions, like the hustle is real when it comes to social media.
Yeah.
Like people are, I would say our business right now is probably 65 to 70% planners. And the rest is either venues recommendations or like a couple books the venue, looks at their Instagram. I love this. Who shot that? And it's like, that's it. And then eventually,
saying
eventually you don't have to worry about that anymore.
I'm kidding. I don't think you never have to worry about it.
I know.
No, because the competition is the competition no matter what price bracket you're in.
Right. And I feel like the competition, at your price point now is like, it's bigger because
fierce.
of that. Yeah.
There's less photographers competing for the same jobs, but there's fewer jobs. And it's just different. It's like there's more photographers in that kind of lovely market in that similar price point, but there's also so much work to go around. It's kind of like if you lose one, whatever. Another one's like in your inbox immediately. Whereas if you're sending out a $60,000 proposal, if you lose it, it's kind of like, bummer.
So basically you're saying that a higher price point has allowed you to be more flexible with your life. Now you can spend more time with your family, I'm assuming, and like do more things that are personable for you. So kind of like, can you explain to us, for other photographers out there that do have, let's say 70 to 80, 90 weddings a year, like how could they balance their work-life balance?
Yeah, totally. That was actually a major part of my price jump, the market jump, all of that, because it was impacting my health shooting that much. I mean, it was crazy. I got diagnosed with hemiplegic migraines, which is basically like you have a stroke. Every time you get a migraine, it's horrific. Ended up in the hospital.
I got diagnosed with cluster headaches.
Oh.
Cluster headaches?
Have you ever had a cluster headache? Oh my God.
Awful.
Like headache back to back to back to back?
Well, so they were happening 3 times a day.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And it's like, feels like being stabbed between your eyeballs. And
Oh
my God.
Migraines are the worst.
It was awful.
Yeah. I ended up hospitalized, straight up hospitalized. I was on medication, daily medication for many years. But it was just too much editing, too much work, too much stress, like too much all of it.
And now you're a parent also.
Yes, this was all before I was a parent, thankfully.
Oh, really?
I have a 1 and a 3-year-old. Yeah. So I have literally like a 12-month-old. I just had a baby last year and a 3-year-old. So, but yeah, I think that, I take 12 weddings a year. They're all big jobs. They're all multiple days of coverage and they all require travel. So I would say that each wedding is like a, 4 to 6 day commitment most times. So that number feels really healthy for me. It feels really good. Max I think I would ever take is 15 and the lowest number I'd ever want is 10. So kind of like anywhere in between 10 to 15 feels really good. But yeah, 1,000%. It has allowed me to focus on doing each of them really, 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 really well. And so if you're kind of in that, it almost felt like a hamster wheel at a certain point where you could never catch up. You never catch up on anything. You know, the process felt like you were just speeding through things to get them done because the volume of editing, of album design, of trying to have a relationship and thinking about how to send Starbucks gift cards to your clients so that they like you. Like all of, like I'm kind of making light of it, but not really because
Wait, Simon, did you get a Starbucks gift card?
He got a personal invite to my house.
Oh, yeah, I got to go to her house, man.
Yeah.
I think she had Starbucks
I'm
waiting
sure
there.
I served something.
But no, it's interesting to hear you say this because it's like you just said that jokingly, but it's like I have to try to get our clients to like us, and like that's a thing, you know.
It is a thing, and I don't really worry about that anymore. Once I've got the job, I don't really think about that client again until I need to start thinking about what art I want to create for them. And so I feel like mentally it has really freed me up to become a better, stronger photographer. My clients are so much better served this way because they're hiring us and paying us money to do a job. And the better we can do that job, the happier they're going to be at the end of the day. And for me personally too, like I'm not a gift person. I'm not someone who like loves gifts, who loves receiving gifts. Like,
oh, I meant the other way. I'm bad at giving gifts. I love receiving gifts.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, who doesn't like
just
receiving
gifted me
gifts,
today.
right? But like, I don't feel loved necessarily when someone gives me a present. I
Got
feel
it.
loved when, you know, whatever. It doesn't really matter because it's not about me. But what I'm good at doing.
That's gonna be the name of this podcast.
It's not even about me.
It's not about me.
It's not about me.
Oh, I like that.
As much as Ant tries to make me answer
right?
that it is all about me, he's like, tell me why you're great. I'm like, I don't know. So Simon,
Simon, why am I great?
Simon, why are you great?
Oh.
And Simon goes, oh yeah, let me tell you why I'm great.
Let me tell you about myself. No, it's actually
That I can do.
it is such an interesting perspective to hear because I think like, you know, I think there's a certain degree of what's the word I'm looking for? People have certain expectations what they think a luxury wedding, especially, you know, what you're doing now, you know, they have expectations of what that looks like.
Yeah.
Subjective.
And it's
It
everything's
is subjective. It is.
Everything is subjective.
Everything's subjective, but also it's all pretty similar at this level.
Right. And it's, you
Because
know,
I hear who gets what job. I know we're all working with the same planners. Like it's kind of everyone's in a similar price point, except there's like 3 at the very top who are just like astronomical.
so I take things super personally. Do you ever,
Yeah.
and I know that if I was in that situation,
Wow, you admitted it.
I admit it every episode. But like, do you ever like another photographer gets a job, be like, why did they get the job and not me? Like,
No, it's never why did they get the job. It's like they deserve that job.
Oh, really? You are such a better person than me.
No, it's just, I mean,
I'm kidding.
if I ever find out who it is, which is not often, to be fair,
No, I'm sure. Yeah.
at least not right away. I'll just see it next year on Instagram and be like, oh, they got that job.
Yeah.
No, but I think anyone at that level who is getting the job deserves that job more than I do because they got it. If I deserved it, I would get it.
So Simon and I usually talk about like horror stories and like
Yeah.
good things that happen to us at weddings. So I'm curious, have you ever had a horror story either dealing with a client or on a wedding day that not too many people know about?
We can also bleep anything you don't want.
No.
Right.
Well, this isn't a horror story, but it could have been a really tricky situation. You won't have to bleep this out at
Okay,
all.
good.
No. So I shot the actress Issa Rae. I shot her wedding in the south of France, and I was 8.5 months pregnant when I shot it.
Wow.
Wait, this is okay. Hold on. Before you continue this story, I remember seeing that you shot that. I was like, I think isn't she like due now?
Yeah.
We had talked. I had talked at some event, and
Yes.
I remember doing that math and being like, oh boy.
Yeah, me too. This was also the year after COVID when you had to get like vaccinated by like a certain point to like get into a country. Like you had to have all your papers, you had to have all your like things, which is like difficult to like make any of those decisions when you're pregnant. Like, should I travel to Europe that late? Should I whatever your thoughts on anything were, it was like a tricky time to navigate,
Especially being
working
pregnant. Yeah.
in other countries, like all those health decisions. Like anyway, so I was kind of like, let me just like see how this pregnancy goes. I think I can do it because I had a great pregnancy. This was my first pregnancy. Anyway, so it's like, you know, end of July. I think it was maybe the first week of August. It was something. It was like literally 4 or 5 weeks till my due date. I was due Labor Day. So whatever it was, like I should not have been in France. Sorry, France. And I just remember literally sprinting around that wedding. I was given like 25 seconds to shoot portraits. Like there was so many things that needed to be shot. And I had a big, good team with me that day. But I remember the night before at the rehearsal dinner having like crazy Braxton Hicks, which are like false contractions. So we were Googling
And this was
like
your first
hospital.
pregnancy too.
Yeah. So my husband was with me. And we're Googling, you know, like hospitals to deliver in France. And
my
this is in the
God.
south of France too. So if you're if you're
speaks
familiar
English.
at all with like the French Riviera, yes, like no one speaks English. It's like little medieval villages. It's not like we're in Paris
yeah.
or you know something a little bit easier. So anyway, I just remember, you know, eating dinner after our coverage of the rehearsal dinner and literally just holding my stomach, being like, "This is stupid. This is stupid
Like, why is
that
this
I'm
happening?"
in France." Not only that, but one of my good girlfriends, she was due, I think 3 weeks before me, had her baby that day. And I was like we were pregnant the whole year together. You know what I mean? It was like, and like I saw that she had her baby and I was like, what am I doing? This is the dumbest decision I've ever made in my life. Literally sprinting around in 150-degree heat, you know, the most demanding wedding ever. But I did not have my baby in France, and it was totally fine, and it was great.
Wait, what's
but
the baby's
that was
name?
Brenton. Yeah, that's
Did
my
you
favorite.
attempt to find anyone who was a doctor among the wedding guests?
I did text
Right.
the planner. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was like, you know, we just want to have a backup.
Because I feel like that.
Yes, I did.
Because Magda shot both pregnancies up until the time I was like, you can't
Stop.
come to, you
Yeah.
can't
Stay
come to this
home.
one.
Yes.
Right, stay
Yeah.
home. I'll
Yeah,
find
stay
someone
home.
else.
Yeah.
And I remember being at everyone and like, because everyone would see how pregnant she was and be like, don't worry, like he's an OB over there just in case. I'm like, gotcha,
Awesome.
great job. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Yeah.
So you shot Issa Rae's wedding, which is, I feel like, a milestone. That's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah,
right?
it was really cool. Also, we had an NDA for that one.
Yeah.
So I was never going to even be allowed to say that I shot it, let alone share photos from it, which is always a huge bummer, right?
Yeah.
And delivered the preview gallery at like 4 a.m. after the wedding, because that's another thing that you got to do. This is like part of it. Like after every day that you shoot, most planners require previews immediately.
Yeah.
Like before you even shoot the
Ahead of
next
the
day's
game.
events.
We've started doing that after weddings because if I wait
Don't you
till
do it at
Monday,
weddings?
I'll never get it done.
Totally.
You do it during
Or
the
like
weddings, though,
Sunday
right?
or
I do it
Monday.
during the wedding.
Yeah,
Magda will
yeah.
sit at the reception and I'll do it.
That's pretty cool.
Wild. Oh my gosh, that's great.
So wait, you shot Issa Rae's wedding, and you shoot like different types of like celebrity weddings throughout your career.
Not like a
No?
ton of celebrity weddings,
But like
to be
higher
honest.
end.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
higher end.
yeah. Or just like wealthy people.
Okay. So
know,
if there's
like-
a photographer out there that
Yeah.
is trying to break into the destination weddings
Yes.
or celebrity or higher end weddings,
Yeah.
could you give us like maybe 3 pieces of advice on how to actually do that?
Oh, also with Issa's wedding, she decided to post the photos the next morning, which is how we were able to eventually share everything, which was very cool end to that
that is-
story.
That's
and
awesome.
made that whole pregnancy fiasco totally worth it.
Because you have to sort of think, like, she saw them and went, oh my God, I have to share these.
That's
Like,
literally what happened.
that's awesome.
She told me that.
That's so cool.
And
Wow,
she
that
follows
is
me on
cool.
Instagram and comments on things still. And she is the coolest human, by the way. She's amazing.
cool.
She's super cool.
That's
She
awesome.
thanked her vendors in her speech
Really?
at her
I
wedding.
love
dope.
when
By
people do
name.
that. That needs to be something we
Oh,
talk about
100%.
at some point.
I
'Cause every
know.
once in a while, they'll be like,
100%.
I want to thank Magda and Simon. We're like, what?
I
Right.
know.
Like,
Yeah, you
it
get
just
like real
feels so
awkward.
good,
You're like,
right.
Me?
And, no, by far the most awkward part of any wedding is standing at the front of a ceremony when they say, when they do the cell phone thing and say, we have
yes.
very good professional photographers. You're just standing up front like everyone's
like,
looking
"That's
at
me."
me now. Okay.
I'm doing great.
Right.
And that was
Thanks,
that
priest.
was my one complete tangent
Yeah.
for this episode. Okay, continue.
Oh, there'll be more, Lauren.
There
Don't
will
worry.
be more. Okay,
All
3
right.
pieces of advice.
Yeah.
3 pieces of advice for breaking into destination work or higher end weddings.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Either? Both?
Either
Either
one.
or.
Okay.
Or both.
Yeah. Well, I guess they kind of go hand in hand, but yeah, getting outside your local market, starting to shoot higher weddings. Yeah, I mean, I think you're the number one thing, you know, I'm a businesswoman. I think I happened to find an artistic career, but I really think of myself as a businesswoman, and a lot of the business side of this comes very naturally to me as opposed to the art I have to work harder on personally. But, you know, for me, I always knew I wanted to shoot destination work. I have always had almost like an insatiable craving for travel, not even just like a love of it, like I need it. And I always knew I wanted that to be part of my business. But I would say the number one thing is that your portfolio has to be amazing. There is not a single piece of business advice or marketing technique I could give you that is a substitute for mediocre work. And I'm sorry it needed to be said,
No.
but there is a lot of fluff out there, and there's a lot of people trying to copy other styles that are popular. You know, I think the thing that is going to make you stand out, as per your earlier question, the thing that's really going to make your business have longevity, bring you incredible clients over the years that are only going to keep going up and up and up, right? The one thing is creating absolutely unbelievable work. And I don't think there's a single substitute for that. And I think that if your work is not there, why should someone fly you to Italy to shoot their wedding?
Do you think that's subjective though?
No, I don't. Not at this level. I think that not a single person working in the luxury industry, every single person deserves to be there because their work's so good. You know, I think that if you've made it that far and you're charging that much, there's a reason.
Your shit better not stink is what you're saying.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally. And I mean, maybe that's subjective. Certainly. I mean, there's probably, you could debate that all day long, right? But I think that overall, I would say that anyone who's been in this industry 15, 20 years who
Recognize a beautiful.
Yeah, and you can create that no matter what. And I think that learning to curate your own work is the second piece of advice I would give to that, because learning to recognize a standout image that's going to do really well on Instagram or in your portfolio, as opposed to a bunch of filler shots.
Or something that you might have an emotional tie to that
Yeah.
you feel a way about, but
Right. Yes.
someone else looking at that
Yes.
is not going to have that.
Totally. I just spoke at Hybrid Co., which is a photography conference, and part of my masterclass is I do like Instagram curations of people. So I'll take their Instagram and make it better. And it's really, really fun.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you like hose their Instagram.
I was going to say.
No. I like select my favorite images and create like a new saved folder of them, and it creates a new feed, basically. Like it creates a new grid, and it's really fun and really cool. And if you can find someone with good taste to do that to your own work, it's a really interesting exercise. But, you know, I've done this a lot of times to a lot of different photographers, and it's really cool to see their work go from like a $6,000 photographer to like a $25,000 photographer.
That's awesome.
Just by the curation of the same work.
So Instagram is definitely that number one tool, you think?
Yeah, Instagram and
To market
portfolio,
yourself.
your work. Yes, it is. And
Website's huge too, because
website's huge too.
I mean,
they're looking at it. They
yeah.
are.
and well, here's the thing: is I just, you know, we were talking about WIPA the last time, and the masterminds they had. There was a whole social media panel.
Oh,
and
yeah. I know. I'm sad I missed that. It looked amazing.
And but the one thing they said that I was like, oh, duh, like, is that website traffic is everything, because they can't book you without going to your website. They're not
Totally.
they're not DMing you, like, or if they are, that's not going to work.
Right.
But
Like they're
as far
still
as
looking at your site.
Before you're going through a planner for everything,
Yeah.
like you want them to get from Instagram to
Your
your
poli-
website
your
to book
portfolio.
So your
Yes.
portfolio on that website has to be
Yes.
money.
And everything that you share has to be targeted towards that kind of imaginary client, even if you're not really shooting it yet. You have to appeal to it, because no one's going to book what they can't see, and which is a little bit of a chicken and an egg situation, right? Like, you know, you don't have the luxury weddings yet, but you're wanting to book more of them. But you have to learn to curate your work in a way that feels appealing, that feels cool.
So let's say I'm a photographer and I get
Yeah.
60 inquiries, let's say every month.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
And
Are you on the knot? Is that how you're getting that many? Or
I'm just giving you an example. Let's just say you
Never
get
mind, sorry.
So you get 60 inquiries. Okay, we'll say 20 inquiries a month. And you're feeling good about yourself. You're like, oh yeah, people are like liking
Yeah.
my work.
Yeah.
Clearly I'm doing something good.
Yeah.
But then let's say you look at their portfolio and you're like, actually, you need to change absolutely everything. So why would I think that I need to change anything that I'm doing
Yeah.
when I know that what I'm doing right now is working?
Well, it sounds
Well,
like you probably have a good
right?
portfolio. And
Right.
second of all, how many of those 20 are you actually booking, and at what price point?
True.
Because people could be excited that you're super cheap because your work is great. You know, not you. I'm
No,
just,
no.
the
Right, yeah,
hypothetical.
yeah.
No, I'm
The
just
general
yeah,
you.
of course.
Like people, there's a million different reasons why someone's booking you or not. I mean, I had a volume model for a long time, those first few years of my business.
Yeah.
damn.
You know, and I mean,
No, I get it.
you know,
Yeah.
I don't remember what you paid, Simon. I'm sure it was like $5,000.
It
Like,
was less than that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure it was. I was 3 years into my business.
I joked out. Don't take offense to this, but I'm like, yeah, Lauren Fair shot our wedding, but I'm pretty sure she charges more per hour than she charges for our entire wedding now. So yeah, but
Listen, that's okay.
But I think that, you know, oh shit, I had a thought and I just lost it. Hold on, it'll come to me. All right. I thought of it. It was, we talk a lot, you were talking about elevating your work, showing the stuff that it has to be an amazing portfolio. And, a lot of times when you're starting out, you don't have those weddings necessarily to show that kind of stuff. We've had heated debates on this show about styled shoots.
Yeah, totally.
And using styled shoots to market yourself, but also doing it in a way that doesn't seem deceitful almost.
Yeah, totally.
Do you have where you're going with this.
Do you have any thoughts on that? Just in the sense of like,
I do.
Because I feel like I know some photographers who got to places with mostly styled shoots on their portfolio, and just the way they captioned it kind of was a little bit deceptive in the sense of it sounds like your wedding. Like, what are your thoughts on sort of that area? Like, as I think, I'll let you talk before I give my own opinion.
No, for sure. I mean, I feel like this has been a discussion in our industry for years and will continue to be, I think that the best way to approach this, if you're a photographer listening and you kind of are just looking to pad your portfolio with things you don't have, right, is to create your own styled shoot. Not a shootout, not like attending somebody else's thing, not even attending a workshop. If you need content in your own brand, create a brand shoot for yourself. Hire the team that you want, invest in it like it's your marketing dollars, and create epic fashion, like whatever it is that you're missing in your current portfolio. If you're missing just like a beautifully designed tablescape, focus on that. If you're missing brides with cool fashion, focus on that. If you're missing a certain venue that you really want to get in with, pay the venue to rent it for a couple hours and go shoot there so that you have content from that. I think it's a smart strategy to fill in your portfolio with what you don't have. And I don't think that I think it's just for fun. It's like we create for clients and you're kind of given a day that might not necessarily be your personal style, right? So I think it's just an opportunity to play and to create something that's a little bit more fun and fulfilling. And I mean, there's debates all day long about how people should phrase things, how they should disclose things, if they are listed in a paid vendor directory versus not. If, there's a million things you can get caught up in the weeds in this industry really easily because there's so much noise and fluff, and I just don't care. I truly do not care what other people do, how they phrase it on their own Instagram. Sorry if that's like a little too direct, but that's good. I have horse blinders on in this industry. Like, how horses wear blinders in a parade. I just don't care. I'm like, whatever you do, that is awesome.
Have fun.
Or not.
Yeah.
Great. Like, you're going to self-implode if that's not authentic to yourself. I just don't care. Yeah. Like, it's not my business. It's like when people get really hung up on seeing a TikTok of someone who did something differently with their life than they would do, and they leave comments about it. It's like, does that impact you at all?
Absolutely.
It absolutely does not. And it has nothing to do with you creating better art or me booking a better wedding that month or making a new relationship. I'm sorry if that comes off harsh, but I just don't care what
Lauren,
you do.
I'm with you. I am with you.
It is an interesting industry to be a part of. And I have the most amount of love for the wedding industry. Like, I truly do. I feel like it's, so many people are so genuine when you meet them in real life. And it's like, maybe you see an online persona, or you just have seen their work for a long time, or, you've never connected in person. And then you actually meet in person and you realize that, oh, dang, these people are really cool. Like, these people are actually a lot more authentic than maybe I thought.
And Haley brought up too. She's like, you could just get them on a bad day. Maybe you had a bad experience because they were having a bad day. Everyone has bad days,
Totally. Yeah, it's so true. And and again, I don't know what your conversation with Haley was like. I love Haley. But it is an interesting place. And, I love going to Engage summits, and that's a whole different group too. WIPA's so cool. But it is interesting coming in more as an outsider to those events. I remember my first Engage summit, and I had one or two friends at the whole couple 100-person event, and coming into it as quote unquote a nobody, as opposed to many years in being very, comfortable and speaking and things like that. It is a really interesting dynamic and shift. And I think the one thing that I would say about that is I want to keep that in mind when I'm meeting newer photographers in this industry, is how I felt super welcomed by the one or two friends I did have at that first big event. And I have made a massive point of it every time I'm at Engage. Every time I'm at an event, I really try to bring people in And I think if that's literally one thing that I would hope someone would think about when they think of me, isn't even about my work. I would hope that they would think that I am an inclusive person who wants to bring people together, who wants to have a good time, who wants to take a shot together at the bar.
Yeah.
You know, like who's just someone who's welcoming. And I hope that that is, I guess, my legacy, so to speak, is that I don't ever want anyone to feel like an outsider. And I remember that feeling myself, exactly like you're saying. I remember that so vividly. And, you know, there's so many kind people in the industry who have done it for me, who have brought me in. And now that I am kind of, I guess, more experienced, seasoned.
Seasoned, I like
seasoned,
that.
You know, I want to be that person for other people. And, you know, that's kind of a good perspective to keep in mind, is that we all start somewhere. And just because I'm 15 years in and somebody else is 3 years in doesn't mean that anyone has more or less value to bring to the table. It's just about the relationships. And the longer I'm in this industry, the more I just want to have those genuine relationships. And, you know, whatever someone posts on their Instagram, good for them. But, you know, I don't care.
So I know Simon wants to kind of talk about maybe some things you have going on in terms of.
I really just wanted to ask you about your course that you're offering, because Magda and I just started doing a lot of like workshops and teaching and stuff, which has been super fun. So I just want to hear about like what you're doing now. It sounds awesome.
Totally. Well, I don't offer workshops anymore, sadly. Time has come to an end. They were really fun for a long time, and I loved them. Yeah. And so many good relationships. Actually, a lot of people who are now on my team, or like second shooters, are people who I met through doing this, which is very cool. Nice. And I loved them and enjoyed them so much. But I decided to film all of that content as a course, so I do offer that. It's called Lauren Fair Atelier, and it's an online educational course that you can take if you're a wedding photographer and interested. It's on my website.
Nice. Which is great, because I feel like workshops are always like, oh, that looks amazing, I would totally go, but it's this date at a place that I can't get to. So like, I feel like
I've got kids, or, you know, all the things.
That's like an awesome way for, I think, people to be able to basically get a similar experience, maybe not as much hands-on as your workshops, but yeah. So that's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really fun. So that exists if you're interested.
Cool. Well, we are not letting you off the hook for this podcast just because, you know, you shot my wedding.
What am I in for here?
We're gonna keep. So we like to end every episode with something called a hot button topic.
Wait, should we take a shot?
How about after?
After.
I might need it before.
Yeah. I tried to think of one that would let you vent a little bit without having to necessarily throw anyone under the bus.
Okay.
So
she's nervous. It's not that bad.
Here we go.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
But so with, you know, we talked at the beginning of the episode a lot about staying true to your own work, how trends work and stuff. But I am very curious what trends that are currently popping up in the wedding photography world that you fucking hate. Just something you see and go,
Yes.
no.
It could be anything.
Any kind of trends in the wedding industry. It doesn't necessarily have to be photography related.
Okay. Well.
Here we go, people.
She's thinking
the
hard,
moment
too.
you've all been waiting for.
I think, again, different strokes for different folks. Like, it's fine, again, because I don't really care. But I would say that non-timeless editing has always been a huge pet peeve of mine. I don't think that the like very overly dark and moody and like shaky, you know, situation is going to have a ton of longevity for most people, unless you're John Dolan, in which case do whatever you want. And literally, and he's the GOAT. But yeah, I think that the like dark and moody editing style, I don't think that's going to have a lot of longevity. But if you had asked me that 15 years ago, I would have said the same exact thing. Right. Even if I didn't know how to edit well. I mean, I've always just like colors are really important to me. So I don't think that particularly is going to have a lot of longevity in the industry.
We can also add to this things that have been done for a while, maybe specific shots that happen at a lot of weddings. What of those do you think, like, if I never have to take that photo again, I'm super happy?
You know what mine is?
Tell me.
A super overly curated flat lay.
I would agree with you.
I'm kind of over that.
I'm pretty over it too.
I am too, but if Magda was up here, she would
disagree.
Just cry.
But I still do them.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's for the planner and it's for the paper goods.
Sure.
And yeah, we also do them. I personally am not going to spend nearly as much time as I used to.
When I first started, I used to carry, I mean, Simon knows this. I used to have this huge suitcase.
Styling kit.
Yeah, of
Me
styling
too.
stuff as well as gear.
Ours is over there.
And I'm like, why do I have 3, 4, 5 styling mats plus a whole tray of stuff? And after a while, it just got so cumbersome. I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to take this
I
approach
will
anymore.
say, Magda really enjoys doing them. And it's like, people like them.
Of
She
course.
likes doing them. Fuck, you do it. Have fun, you know?
Look, I think it's just something that's a part of the wedding.
Yeah.
And I'm just not personally going to spend a lot of time myself setting up anymore, even though I'm very good at it. Like, it's just, I agree. It's boring.
And I think that there's a certain amount of people think they're supposed to have that photo.
Yeah.
I just don't really care about that.
They never, ever, ever put it in their albums.
No.
Ever. Yeah. But it's really important for the planners. And I will say the planner is maybe even more so my client than the client. And so if the planner wants something, they're going to get it. And that's a whole different podcast topic.
I wish we talked about that.
We might have to have part 2 with more tequila shots before the
Part
podcast.
2.
All right. Laura, this has been awesome. I'm so happy you agreed to come and do this.
Yes, thank you so much.
And yeah, so check out all the stuff in our description about Lauren Fair Atelier. Did I pronounce that right?
You did. It's French.
Every time I see that word, I'm like, I'm not going to get this right.
You did.
Yeah.
First try, too.
So excited.
That was the first take.
Follow us on Instagram. Follow Lauren on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. Any engagement helps with our social media. And yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This was
Thanks
so
so much.
fun.
Bring your giants out, bring your giants out.